My research examines the EU's place in the global legal order and how we understand the relationship between internal and external rulemaking. So I've done a study of 17 directives of the most recent legislative cycle. The idea is to consider what's the relevance of external norms in one specific field, a controversial field, the EU's area of freedom, security and justice. It's now a regular, normal area of EU law, but essentially it still remains quite close to member state sovereignty. And where it gets its norms, how it evolves those norms, remains of much significance. So I'm looking at this question of measuring EU participation in the global legal order and the EU's preference for particular types of instruments. And in my research, I'm looking at the recitals of a whole range of directives measuring EU membership and looking at specific case studies of strong and weak norm primacy in EU directives. And directives are a specific type of instrument which require some level of implementation, so they still concern areas where there's much discretion on the part of member states, much autonomy and sovereignty. There seems to be quite a preference to use external norms in EU directives to support the EU's rulemaking, so primacy matters to the EU. We also see an extent to which external norms may have a long pedigree in EU law going back a significant period of time and may not be very robust, but still may be relied upon to legitimise and justify EU rulemaking. We see that external norm primacy can have dramatically different impacts in internal and external rulemaking. And I think some of the more important findings of my research are that there is an impetus for better rulemaking in the EU in the internal context, not necessarily matched by the external context. Similarly, the transparency in rulemaking between internal and external processes is not particularly explicit or strong or obvious as a matter of policy formulation.